In today's video, I'm taking more questions that you guys submitted. One of you guys wanted to know how I knew I was gay as a kid. How did I figure it out? What were the signs? So without further ado, let's find out. So just to open up this video a little bit, when I was younger, I didn't know what gay was. I didn't know what sexuality was. I didn't know there was an LGBT community. Basically, in my time, when I was in middle school and high school, sexuality wasn't talked about. Nobody really talked about being gay. The media wasn't open about it. It just wasn't that type of time where there was a lot of representation. So me, being a middle schooler, an elementary kid, didn't really know much about it because no one talked about it. So that is partly the reason why I didn't know what I was until later on. And literally, it all makes sense now. I felt all these things as a kid, but I thought everybody felt this way. I didn't know how to identify it. But now, being the age I am and looking back, it's just so crazy how it wasn't obvious to me. I feel like if there was more LGBT representation in the media back then or at school, I probably would have known myself even earlier. So, now that we've gotten all of that information out of the way, let's get on to signs I knew I was gay as a kid. Number 1, I had a crush on my 4th grade teacher. As I said before, during this time, I didn't know what gay was, I didn't know what sexuality was, so I actually didn't know that this feeling I had for my teacher was a crush. I actually really don't know why I liked my teacher, but it was probably the same reason a straight girl has a crush on her hot guy teacher. Believe it or not, so many kids have crushes on their teachers. I always heard kids at school say, "Oh my god, Mr. Hall, he's so hot," and I just never related. So yeah, that's how you know you're gay, when you have a crush on your female teacher and you don't relate to kids talking about how hot their male teacher is. Another one is, after hanging out with my friend, I would always imagine us like making out and doing things after. So basically, I had this one friend in 7th grade. She was like one of my best friends, and I would go over to her house and we'd always hang out. And whenever I'd go home that night, I would always like imagine like, oh, what if we made out? What if we did this? What if we like had sex? Now, I was a 7th grader at this time, so none of my thoughts were too explicit, but like looking back, how could I not know I was gay? I was literally having sexual thoughts about my girl best friend. Also in 7th grade, whenever this cute girl would hug me, I would always secretly hope that she liked me back, or hope that something would happen. Like in my mind, a hug from a cute girl was like, ooh, maybe she likes me or something, maybe something can happen. But no, it was just like another girl who was straight. And when I found out she liked another guy, I actually felt disappointed. I was never really on par with guy topics with my friends. Like, my friends would talk about how hot a guy was, and they would just talk about guys all the time. They'd be boy crazy, and I really tried to relate. I genuinely tried to agree with them and be like, yeah, like I agree. Like, I tried to see it. And even if I thought that these boys were physically attractive because I have eyes, I still couldn't relate genuinely. I couldn't relate in the ways that they were talking about these boys. So yeah, crush topics were definitely difficult with my friends. While other girls were obsessing over the hot guy in the movie, I would always be looking at the girl in the movie. And I would always question in my head, like, do they not see this girl in the movie? Are they not looking at her? Do they think she's cute too? Like, why are they only focusing on the guy? With Twilight, for instance, I understand that the main characters are all really hot, but I would actually look at Kristen Stewart more. And I don't know if that's a cliche example of characters in a movie, but that always happened to me every movie. I would be the one focusing on the girl, and all the other girls would be focusing on the guy. Throughout my years in school, I actually noticed that conversation with guys were a lot more pleasing and enjoyable and just more easy, because guys at school would talk more about girls they liked, and I secretly related to that. Like, I wouldn't say anything to them about me liking girls because, you know, I didn't figure it out yet, but I still related to them when they were talking, and I just genuinely enjoyed hearing them talk about girls, as opposed to girls talking about their guy crushes. Like, I could care less. So in school, sometimes my friends would joke about me and them dating, and secretly, I kind of liked it. I didn't hate it. So whenever one of my friends would like hold my hand or say, ooh, we're like dating, or like this is cute, I'd be like, freaking out on the inside. I'd be like, yeah. They thought of it as a joke, whereas I was like more into it and enjoying it. Also in school, I'd feel a bit more nervous around attractive girls than the guys, and that made locker rooms more awkward especially. And that also made finding friends very hard for me, because usually when you're a girl, most of your friends are girls, but sometimes with my friends I wanted to like date them and I found them attractive. So sometimes when I wanted to make friends, it was hard because I felt awkward and nervous around the attractive girls. And yeah, of course, I would feel nervous around guys too, but not in the way I was around girls. It was for a different reason. Also throughout school, when I considered trying guys, I tried to imagine them as a girl. Now that's how you know you're gay, when you have to almost try to force yourself to like a guy. You have to try dating a guy because of societal pressures. Like literally, when all your friends are talking about guys and crushes, you feel like you want to do that too. You want to date too, and you want to seem normal. You want to be a part of your friend group. So I was like trying to relate and trying to fit in, but it felt forced. I had to try. I didn't really want to, and part of me just didn't have any ambition to want to date a guy or just date in general during that time. So I just didn't get it. You know, everybody was talking about dating and I'm just here like, I don't care. Like, I'm still figuring out myself. And okay, here's a big one, and this still happens to me now. Whenever I see an attractive guy, I don't want to be with him. I want to be him, if that makes sense. And I think that's a way you guys can also tell if you're gay, because if you are really attracted to a guy and you are into guys, usually when you see a really hot guy, you're like, damn, I could tap that, or I want to date him, I want to do things with him. But whenever I see an attractive guy online or in person, I'm like, I wish I looked like you look cool. I wish I had what you had to appeal more to girls. But when it comes to attractive girls, I say I want to be with you or on you. That's the difference. Okay, here's a good example. Imagine a girl in a dress. Would you say that the girl is attractive because of the dress she's wearing, or the earrings she's wearing, or her hairstyle? Or would you appreciate more of what could be underneath the dress? Because usually when a straight girl looks at another girl in a dress, she's usually like, oh, that girl's so pretty, like I love her dress. But when a straight guy looks at a girl in a dress, he's not like, oh, she's so pretty, I like her dress. He's like, wow, goddamn, she's hot. Like he's thinking about her tits, her legs, or what's underneath. When I see a hot girl in a dress, of course, yes, I might think her dress is pretty, but I might be thinking about her more in a sexual way and not just what's on the outside. But yeah, it's so funny because when I was younger, when I thought I actually liked a guy, I wasn't actually attracted to him or wanted to date him. I was getting it confused with admiration. When I looked at an attractive guy when I was younger, it wasn't like I wanted to date him. It was just like, oh, he looks good, or I like his shirt. I want to be him. He looks cool. He's a cool person. And the reason why I wanted to be more like that guy is because I knew that whatever he had attracted other girls. So I was like, maybe if I look like him, I could also attract girls as well, which is not really the case, but that was kind of like my mindset. Okay, this next one is a big one of how I knew I was gay. Every guy I've ever been attracted to, aka 2 or 3 people, really not that many, they were feminine guys. And believe it or not, that says a lot. If you're a girl and you're finding that all the guys you're attracted to are very feminine and flamboyant, possibly gay, doesn't mean they're gay, but more likely, that might mean that you're more attracted to feminine mannerisms, feminine characteristics, and that might hint towards the idea that you prefer women. To be honest, if I were to date a guy, he would have to be feminine. Like, that is my track record. If I'm attracted to a guy, which is like never, but if I am, he's feminine. I'm never attracted to straight men. I'm never attracted to masculine men. It's always been like a flamboyant guy, which is a problem because he ends up being gay. Also, how I knew as a kid, I was always kind of more attracted to LGBT content. So, for example, if I had to pick between 2 books, like a straight couple and a gay couple, I would pick like a more gay book. And when it came to like independent films I'd watch on YouTube, they were usually gay films. So like even though I didn't know what I was at this time, it's quite evident because I was naturally attracted to this kind of stuff as a kid. And I will say this right now, nobody showed me this stuff. As I said, like my parents never talked about it, kids at school really didn't talk about it, so it's not like I had an outside influence showing me this LGBT content, so I was never influenced. I just found this stuff and I found it appealing and I was already gravitated towards it. And I didn't know why. It was like for no particular reason. Maybe I just identified with it and related to it. And now the last sign I knew I was gay as a kid is that the first porn I ever watched was a lesbian porn. And as I said before, I was not influenced at all. Nobody talked about this stuff. Literally when I was in 5th grade and I was like discovering the internet and porn, I didn't know what it was, but I like stumbled across it. There was literally a straight porn next to the lesbian porn. I could have clicked that, but I clicked the lesbian porn. Most girls don't watch porn or they don't admit to watching porn. Usually porn is more geared towards men. So guys, that is it for this video. Those are all the signs I knew I was gay as a kid, and when I'm looking back at it now, I'm like, why wasn't it obvious? The signs are so clear. And guys, just an FYI, I actually work with kids as a job. A lot of the girls at the camp talk about boys a lot and their crushes, and just hearing them talk about that, in my head I'm like, wow, when I was their age, I never talked about stuff like that. I was never interested in it. So that's how I know I was so different as a kid, and it explains everything now, because I feel like if I was straight at that age, like age 12, 13, I probably would have been thinking more about guys, wanting to date them, and talking about guys with my friends, but I never related to that even though I tried. But anyway, just leave all your thoughts about this below. If you guys identify as gay, how did you find out? And like always, I make a new video whenever I want, so like and subscribe. All my social media is down in the description, and I will see you guys later. Bye.